He first appeared in the world between worlds, now he finally appears on Peridia as a Force ghost. Anakin Skywalker is officially back in Star Wars canon, and to make matters even more interesting, he is smiling at the end of this dire episode where Ahsoka and Sabine are both stranded here on Peridia while Thrawn is going to wreak havoc on the other galaxy. So the question arises, why is Anakin actually smiling at Ahsoka when the situation is nothing to smile about? Well, first off, we have to go back to the world between worlds, because in there, Anakin was trying desperately to teach Ahsoka something. Huyang even goes far beyond in order to get these two together. Master and apprentice should never split up. One of the aspects of why Anakin is still content with the situation in the end is that Sabine finally has reunited with Ahsoka, and together they will do great things. But, of course, in true Star Wars fashion, there is another meaning, and this goes back to the middle episodes where Ahsoka first saw Anakin in the world between worlds. If you don't remember, in A New Hope, this is what Ben Kenobi said to Darth Vader before disappearing.
If you strike me down, I shall become more powerful than you can possibly imagine.
Now, this means that this Force ghost on Peridia is an even more powerful Anakin than we have ever seen when he was alive. And with this amount of astral power that Anakin possesses now as a Force ghost, he can direct them back to their own galaxy, because he is mostly all-knowing, all-powerful as a Force ghost, more powerful than they could ever imagine. We are excited to see him in the world between worlds. We are excited to see a Force ghost version of Anakin, but as Obi-Wan said, baby, if you strike me down, I shall become more powerful than you can possibly imagine. Well, Anakin does not have to imagine it anymore. He is witnessing it right now. So first off, let's lay out the cards on the table. I think that she actually died and was stopped midway, similar to how Anakin was stopped by Obi-Wan during his death. During the fight scene with Balon, we actually know that they are fighting on a point where there is a Nexus in the Force. Now, remember the Mortis arc in the Clone Wars series? Obi-Wan sees Qui-Gon as a Force ghost inside Mortis, and when he asks how is this possible, Qui-Gon tells him that this is a conduit in which the Force flows. You see, throughout the galaxy, there are these Nexus points in the Force where the Force is so exaggerated that strange things can happen. Inside these ancient ruins, we can see Morgan Elsbeth open the star map, and it resembles the world between worlds. So it's not weird that Ahsoka ends up exactly there. The sad part about all of this is that Balon proved to be too much for Ahsoka ultimately. Balon is extremely strong with his slashes. His power stance makes it almost impossible to absorb his blows. He is extremely strong. What I wouldn't give to see a duel between Balon and Darth Vader, because they have kind of the exact same style. They go for power blows, heavy blows mostly, while the Jedi, Ahsoka, other lightsaber wielders go for more finesse style. When Balon succumbs Ahsoka and essentially pushes her to her demise, we don't see her body or get killed. The only thing we see afterward is her transitioning into the world between worlds and Anakin intercepting her therein. How is this possible? Well, remember Obi-Wan in A New Hope? As explained previously, he warned Vader not to do it because he will become more powerful than he could possibly imagine. As Vader tried to slash at him and kill him in the end, Obi-Wan vanished. There was no body to be found. He dematerialized completely. The same thing happened in Return of the Jedi when Yoda died in front of Luke Skywalker, and Luke actually witnessed Yoda disappear. So why is it so crazy to think that Ahsoka actually during her fall, quote-unquote, died and dematerialized, ending up in the world between worlds? It could be that during all these years, Ahsoka has somehow learned the secret Qui-Gon teachings of how to become a Force ghost. Maybe Dave Filoni has retconned this already, and when you die, you actually go to the world between worlds before you transition to the Nether. You see, this is what I mean by saying why Anakin now is much more powerful than we have ever seen him. Let's take a step back and explain it. So, as Anakin is laying there during the waning moments of his life, his son is embracing him. These are his final moments. However, what we don't see in the movie and what we read in the novels is that Obi-Wan and Yoda appeared to Anakin behind Luke, smiling down at the now redeemed former apprentice. Even though Luke insists that he needs to save him, Anakin tells him that he already had, and the only thing he asks of him is to tell his sister that he was right about him. When he saw his former masters, he knew that the end was near. Now comes the interesting part. Anakin is dead. He is whisked away in the beyond. There is no fear. There is no hatred. All he can feel is overwhelming love. It was at this time that his master Obi-Wan Kenobi appeared in front of him and stopped him from vanishing forever, actually teaching him how to retain his personality in the Force, how to imprint it and come back as a Force ghost. Both in canon and legends, this is how Anakin retained his Force ghost personality. Although Anakin did not learn the Qui-Gon Jinn's secret of joining the Force, throughout his life he was surprised by many things, including Obi-Wan vanishing before him. We know that Qui-Gon learned this first and then taught Yoda subsequently and then taught it to Obi-Wan. In Legends, we learned that the secret to eternal life via the Force was actually with love. According to Qui-Gon, a Sith could never truly attain this power because all they had is hatred. And in turn, even though Darth Vader was a Sith, when he was redeemed as Anakin in the final moments, as he passed on, Anakin's love for Luke consumed him completely. And this is how he transformed himself into a spirit, just like his master had done so before him. And this is why Anakin is the most powerful he has ever been. Now, as a Force ghost, we know that Force ghosts can never do harm or be harmed by other physical entities. They can pass through solid matter. They can manifest themselves wherever they desire. He effortlessly appears to Ahsoka in the world between worlds, let alone the many Legends instances and now canon as well, where he has appeared to not only Leia but Luke as well, meaning that Anakin can go anywhere, do anything, pass through anything. And as we see in The Last Jedi, Yoda can even wield lightning even though he is a Force ghost. So I don't know if Dave Filoni might retcon those Rian Johnson decisions, but nonetheless, it happened. Force ghost Yoda did attract lightning and destroyed one of the ancient Jedi temples. It's ironic because all Anakin sought throughout his youth was more power, being the best Jedi ever, having the possibility to stop people from dying, and he really achieved this in the end, albeit through different means. He is forever young now. He is all-powerful as a Force entity. When a Force-sensitive dies, Dave Filoni might have retconned it now to signify that the purgatory for Jedi is the world between worlds. This is where they stop first and choose how to move on afterwards. I said in the beginning there are two possibilities. So for me, I think that it would be extremely cool if Ahsoka had actually died, because this would mean Balon's efforts had consequences. He actually killed Ahsoka in his mind, but Ahsoka did not die all the way through. In fact, the world between worlds saved her once. She was supposed to die in the hands of Darth Vader. She didn't. The world between worlds saved her, and she materialized in a different area during that timeline and was saved from Vader. It's very interesting and fascinating what's going to happen after this season, but I would love to know what you guys think as well, so talk to me down below.